From the ever-shrinking number of real superstars to the lack of excitement from the sport, Usain Bolt thinks that athletics has been struggling ever since his departure in 2017. And now he wants to find the next superstar who can transcend track and field. I mean, let's be fair for a sec. Even though we've seen exciting new talents like Noah Lyles or even Sydney McLaughlin, they're currently not even close to being the type of profile that the sport needs. You know, people who aren't just great at being athletes, but are also celebrities when they're not competing. And of course, the perfect example of that is none other than Usain Bolt. The world's fastest man changed the face of athletics when he won gold medals at the 2008 Beijing Olympics.
There was a lot of doubters, but I silenced a lot of people now, so for me, I'm just happy and I was proud of myself. I came here to solidify my legacy, and I started out good, so I'm happy with myself now. Now I got to push on, I got to keep focusing, I just got to work hard.
And went on to dominate for 8 more years. But the issue is that it's been 6 years since he hung up his running shoes, and yet no one's filled that void yet. Like, it really doesn't look like anyone's gonna break his 100-meter and 200-meter world records anytime soon, let alone match his star power. And according to him, that's concerning. Why? Well, as I've already mentioned, he feels like track and field has been on the decline for a while, and fans just don't find it as exciting anymore. The solution? Finding a superstar who can step up and show that there's something truly extraordinary about someone pushing the limits of human physicality. Someone who can stand out from the rest of the crowd and win people over. Again, Bolt's the guy they gotta be in the same league as, right? Everyone rooted for him every time he walked onto the track. Oh, and he delivered every single time. With that said, Bolt was perhaps even beyond what you'd call a generational talent. So, how do you even find someone like that? Well, according to the man himself, athletes need to be more entertaining. And again, he's not wrong, is he? I mean, I get that the most important thing is performing on the track, plus, with such fine margins between competitors these days, you need to spend most of your time trying to find that extra edge. But still, what's the point of being great if no one's there to witness it? Like, if Bolt is still the most recognizable face of the sport 6 years after he left, there's definitely something wrong there. In fact, in an interview with the PA news agency, he went as far as to say that the sport needs to change the way it's set up.
And for me, I had won everything I wanted to win. You know what I mean? I went back to the Olympics and won it 3 times, so I didn't want to do anymore, you know what I mean? My sponsors offered me a lot of money to stay on, but for me, there was no drive to continue and money to...
Because right now, things just aren't exciting enough. He talked about how there's already such a dearth of superstars, which is adding to the audience losing interest over time. So if they really want to draw big crowds and draw that attention, the sport needs to provide avenues for athletes to be more expressive. For instance, the celebrations could be turned up a notch, because right now, things just feel a bit too dry. He added that he obviously can't do anything about it himself now, so he hopes the IAAF will look into it and change a few things. Besides, the athletes need to change their ways as well. Oh, and Bolt isn't the only guy to have pointed this out in recent times. The World Athletics boss, Seb Coe, has similar grievances about today's athletes as well.
Usain Bolt is a genius. You know, I can't think of, other than Muhammad Ali in my sporting lifetime, I can't think of anybody that has so had an impact. Friday night in the pub, conversations about who's the best footballer and who's the best tennis player, and we can have arguments about Pele and Maradona.
He said that the post-Bolt generation needs to recognize they are in the entertainment business, because again, the sport needs to attract spectators in order to thrive. And while Coe did admit that 200-meter world champion Noah Lyles has been pretty good in that regard, he can't carry the burden alone. Now, the World Athletics boss did have an unorthodox solution to the problem. What exactly? Well, he thinks that if we can't find any superstars from the current crop of athletes, Bolt should just come out of retirement for a few years. For him, that would instantly bring back a ton of viewers who tuned out after he left the sport. Though, while I do see his point, I feel like it's akin to covering cracks with duct tape. It's just not sustainable. Having said that, not everything is as dire as it may seem within the world of athletics. After all, Bolt thinks there is still some exciting talent coming through the ranks. The Jamaican athletes, like Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, Sharika Jackson, and Elaine Thompson-Herah, stand out to him the most. The girls are spectacular. They've really kept the Jamaican flag flying high, he said. And yeah, these 3 did dominate the podium at the World Championships last year. Bolt then said that they're arguably the most exciting contingent for him, and that they'll continue to do great stuff. The only hope now, at least according to him, is that they maintain this level of performance heading into the next Olympics. Now, as far as the men's side is concerned,
Honestly, I would say yes, it is a good championship due to the fact that the extended years that I have for World Champs, I have not medal in 2, and to come out here and capture my first medal in the 100, even though
He thinks that Fred Kerley stepped up from the 400 meters to dominate 100 meters. Plus, he also mentioned the youngster Oblique Seville, who came in 4th in the Worlds last year and works with Bolt's old coach as well. For him, these were the guys who could go on to potentially replace him in the future. Though, of course, it's easier said than done, and actually reaching that sort of level is incredibly difficult. In fact, being an elite athlete is arguably one of the hardest things you can do. Everything from insane training regimens to strict diets needs to be followed to a T. You need to be consistently committed and have an incredibly strong work ethic. I mean, there's no room for slip-ups at this level, especially when it comes to your physical form. At the end of the day, that hard work is what separates the top athletes from everyone else. But it's not even about being the fastest person out on the track. What actually makes someone a superstar is how they handle themselves under pressure. After all, athletics is just as much a test of wits as it is a test of physicality. Real champions know how to remain calm under adversity and fight right to the end. In fact, sometimes the greatest litmus test of a superstar is how they behave when they're not winning. Though, of course, you don't just learn all these things the second you step foot into the sport, you need good coaching to go along with that too. Seriously, people underestimate just how important the whole coach-mentor dynamic is, especially for athletes. These guys aren't only there to improve technique or physicality, they're also super important for the mental side of things. If you look at the most elite athletes in the world, you'd realize that the majority of them have had one single coach for a very long time. After all, finding consistency and building a relationship is also crucial. Besides, most elite stars who let go of their longtime coaches tend to have a drop in form, be it track and field or honestly any sport. But of course, athletics of today is very different from what it was a couple of decades ago. I mean, tech and innovation have really switched things up recently. You've got all sorts of wearable equipment that can give you a detailed analysis of literally every single step in your stride, how you strike your foot, your posture, or even your arm movements. And it's those little extra 1% tweaks that can make all the difference in the world. Not to mention all the robots that can help you train with consistency without needing external help from a real person. Oh, and obviously there's also a ton of data you can study to see where your opponent's weaknesses lie, just so you can exploit those and gain an advantage. Like, the possibilities are endless. But by reducing the margins, do these things eliminate the chances of one person standing out from the rest of the crowd and becoming a superstar? Only time will tell. Until then, this has been Usain Bolt's take on finding the next superstar in athletics.